In this video, I'll show you how to obtain the strongest weapon in Final Fantasy XVI, the Ultima Weapon, which gives you a whopping 700 attack and stagger points. Let me start off by saying that in order to unlock the recipe for this weapon, you'll need to fully complete the game. When you do so, you'll unlock the Final Fantasy difficulty level, and by starting New Game Plus in said difficulty, the recipe will be available upon your first visit to the blacksmith. To forge the Ultima Weapon, you will need 3 items: the Utterance of Creation, the Reforged Everdark, and the Reforged Goddardamaru. Firstly, you need to obtain the Utterance of Creation. Fortunately for you, that's pretty straightforward, because as soon as you start New Game Plus on the Final Fantasy difficulty level, you'll receive the item alongside with the Ultima Weapon recipe. Let's move on to the second item you will be needing, which is the Reforged Everdark. Reforged weapons are basically the same weapons you have used throughout your first playthrough of the game. The only difference is that they now offer increased stats. The Reforged Everdark requires 4 items. The Reforged Icebrand weapon can be obtained simply by upgrading your basic weapon as you progress throughout the game. The chain of basic weapons starts with the Reforged Stormcry, which you can get by defeating Garuda, and ends with the Reforged Everdark. By this point, you should already have sufficient Sharp Fangs and Meteorites. If not, you can always purchase them from Charon. That leaves the Flawless Dark Shard. You can obtain this item after finally defeating King Barnabas during your second encounter with him. This takes place after the Last King main quest. Head to the blacksmith afterwards and you can upgrade your Icebrand into the Everdark, leaving one last weapon on the list standing between you and the Ultima Weapon. And that last weapon is the Reforged Goddardamaru. You will first need to unlock the recipe for this weapon by completing Blacksmith Blues 1 to 4. Blacksmith Blues 4 will be accessible during the Across the Narrow main quest, right after your first fight with Barnabas. Begin this quest by speaking with August. You must then travel to Dhalmekia and slay an Akashic Horde. After doing so and reporting back to Blackthorn, you'll have completed the quest. The rewards of the quest are the Goddardamaru recipe, as well as the first item you need to craft the Goddardamaru, the Reforged Ragnarok. Let's now take a look at the remaining materials needed for the Goddardamaru. You will need 3 Orichalcums, 2 Darksteels, and 1 Battlehorn. These materials can be obtained by hunting down specific notorious marks or by doing specific side quests. Let's start with the Orichalcum. There are a total of 6 Orichalcums in the game. The first 4 can be obtained from notorious marks and the last 2 from doing certain side quests. Make sure that you bring enough potions and save the game right before you approach the marks, because if you die, you'll have to respawn at the nearest obelisk and will have to travel to the mark again. The first mark is called the Breaker of Worlds, where you have to defeat Atlas. This hunt becomes available right after the Out of the Shadow main quest. That is right after you defeat the fully primed Titan. Atlas is located in Rosaria. Use the Eastpool Obelisk and head southeast to find them. Next up is the Ruin Reawakened mark. This mark becomes available after completing the Fire in the Sky main quest, where you defeat Bahamut. Use the Cair Northern Obelisk and travel southeast to find Svarog. The third mark is the Tricephalic Terror, which becomes available during the Across the Narrow main quest, after you are forced to lose to King Barnabas in your first fight with him. Travel to the Dalamal Inn in Dhalmekia and head to the mark location to encounter Gorgimera. And the last Orichalcum you can obtain from hunts is the Masterless Marauder mark, where you have to defeat the Behemoth King. This one takes a bit more work because you have to do 3 side quests in order to unlock this hunt. You also have to be at the Back to Their Origin main quest, right after your first battle with Ultima. Here's the order of the side quests you need to do in order to unlock the Behemoth King hunt. You start with Weight of Command, followed by Self-Determination, and lastly, Nobody's Tool. The Weight of Command quest becomes available after defeating Titan for the first time, during the Bolts from the Blue main quest. You'll have to complete the Getting to Work sub-object first. Speak with Doris near the boarding deck to initiate the quest. After completing the first quest, you'll have to progress in the main story and get to the Across the Narrow main quest. Self-determination can now be started in Clive's chambers by going to the reading table. Nobody's Stool becomes available during the Back to Their Origin main quest. After finishing this quest, the Behemoth King mark will become available on the hunt board. Use the Vidargrass obelisk and head southwest to encounter this hunt. That's all the orichalcum you can get from the hunts. Next up are the side quests. These two quests will give you the last two obtainable orichalcums in the game, Under New Management 2 and Duty Undying 2. Under New Management is a two-part quest that is unlocked during the Across the Narrow main quest. It can be initiated by speaking to the Dame in Sambrek near the Northreach obelisk. After completing the first part, you'll have to progress in the main storyline right before the final fight with Ultima to unlock part 2. Under New Management 2 is also initiated by speaking to the Dame near the Northreach obelisk in Sambrek. After completing that quest, you'll receive your orichalcum. The last quest you need to complete if you want the final orichalcum is the Duty Undying 2 quest. This is also a two-part quest that can be initiated by speaking to Cyril in Dalmekia near the Tabor obelisk. After finishing the first quest, the second one will be available at the same spot. Finish the quest by defeating Titus and report back to Cyril for the final orichalcum. Next up is the two Darksteels we need for the Goddardamaru. These two hunts will get you the Darksteel needed. The first one is the Usher of the Underworld, which becomes available after you defeat Barnabas. Thanatos can be found in Dalmekia. Travel to either the Kretov obelisk or the Gilded Path obelisk and head to Titan's Wake. The second Darksteel can be obtained from the Grim Reaper or the Prince of Death, which is unlocked after the Under New Management 2 side quest we have discussed before. And the final material you'll need is the Battle Horn, which can be obtained by slaying Gobermauch. This hunt also becomes available after defeating Barnabas. Travel to the Isla obelisk in Waloed and go west to encounter Gobermauch. After obtaining all these items, you can head back to the hideaway, forge the Goddardamaru, and by this point, you should also have all the items necessary to create the Ultima Weapon. So there you have it. If you benefited from this video, would you be so kind to leave me a like and subscribe if you'd like more Final Fantasy XVI guides. See you next time. Juice Gaming out.